Okay, it's time to get started. Alrighty, well, thanks everyone for joining us today for the webinar on 8 tools to improve office productivity. Really excited to be presenting this one today, just because I know there's a lot of not-for-profits out there that are struggling for time, struggling to get things done. So I hope that some of these tools you might be able to use yourself, and then also use within the office with maybe some of your colleagues to really get some more stuff done, save a bit of time, and at the end of the day improve productivity. So I suppose the important thing before getting too deep into this is that I did want to take a bit more of a hands-on approach to this webinar. So instead of just talking about why these products are good and how they're useful, I will be digging into the products themselves to show you how I use them inside our organization, and to shed some light on how other non-profits are using the tools inside theirs. If you do have any questions throughout the presentation, just use the chat pane to ask them. I'll save the questions till the end and get through them all together. Okay, perfect. Alrighty, so the agenda. So I've broken down the productivity tools into sort of three main categories. So we've got project management, where we'll take a look at Trello and Asana. Communication and collaboration, we'll be looking at HipChat and Dropbox. So HipChat's a chat tool, and Dropbox is a way that we can share files and collaborate. And then the other ones, I couldn't find a category, but we'll touch on them all together. So that's Canva, which is a graphic design tool. Evernote helps with note-taking and keeping everything organized. Grammarly for spelling and grammar. And finally, Sprout Social for social media management, updates, and whatnot. So like I mentioned before, you may not be able to use all of these tools, but you might have someone inside your organization that will benefit from them. So the idea here is that if you do feel like one of these tools might help them, then you can just sort of fill them in with some of the benefits of them. Alrighty, so the first one is Trello. So Trello is a project management tool that really helps you organize your work into cards. So it does have mobile applications and accessible via the web, so you can sync it across all your devices and have a consistent stream of everything that you need to do. It's really flexible and easy to use. So the idea is that you can throw away that notepad that you jot down your to-do list in the morning and move it all to the cloud. Very easy to edit, move, delete to-do lists, and also if you have management above you that needs to keep track of the work that you're doing, you can share your to-do list with them, and they'll be able to see what you're working on during the day, and add and collaborate to that to-do list. So let's just have a look over here at Trello. So here's how we're using Trello, or how I'm using Trello at RNG. So the basis is that it's based on these cards, and you move the cards along from left to right based on whether you've completed the specific task, whether it's waiting for approval, and some that are backlogged that might be getting a bit too much for you for this week, and you can save it for next week. So for instance, here we'll start from the left. So I use this backlog here to put down some of the tasks that I know that I'm not going to get to this week. So for instance, write and publish a new blog post, how to improve workplace collaboration. So this is something that I'm going to be publishing next week. I know that I'm not going to get to it this week, so it's sitting in the backlog ready to go. As we move through to my tasks this week, you can try to relate to your specific tasks when I'm talking about this, is that I've got these things on my to-do list for this week. So for instance, I'm organizing a media release with Connecting Up. As I move through this particular task, I then drag it over through to the next sort of set of cards. So for this particular example, I might need to get approval from my management to run this media release with Connecting Up. As I move through these tasks, I can then take it through to the waiting approval sort of list. Once it's been approved, I then move it through to done. So you can quickly see how this tool can make your life a lot easier in respect to quickly organizing what you have to do for the week, and then when it's done, instead of crossing it off or instead of just sort of leaving it there, you can actually move it to a specific done tab, and then your management or whatnot can then have a look at what you've completed for the week, so you don't have to report to them with a notepad and say I've done this, this, and this. So that's the basics of it. It does get pretty cool when you start collaborating with teams. So if you have a team that you're working on a specific project, you can use this tool as well. So for instance, say if we need to collaborate on an SEO project that I'm doing, and I have a team member that I need work with, you can add a specific member to this card, and then they can write comments. You can say, all right, so we did this week, whatever. They can leave a comment. They'll get notified when you update this specific task, and then they can also come in and add their comments and whatnot as well. You can add attachments. So if you have a file that you want to share, instead of sending them an email, having various versions of a specific file, you can keep it all really neatly organized inside Trello. So that's the basics. I don't want to be going on to too much on each of these tools because we just want to give you a brief overview. But at the end of the day, it's a good tool to help you organize your to-do lists. And if you're working in a team environment, you can collaborate with others to stay better organized. The best thing is it is free. So you're not going to have to pay anything for it. You get full access to all the features, which is really quite cool. Alrighty, on to the next one. So the next one is Asana. So this is another project management tool. This one is actually more designed for if you're working in small groups, and you might have a discrete set of tasks that you need to do within that group. So whereas Trello is good for managing a project over a period of time and across different departments, Asana is good for when you've just got a group of say 3 people that you're working on, and you all sort of know exactly what you want to do. So again, they sort of really sell their tool as teamwork without the email. So again, forget about digging through all the internal email that you might have when you're collaborating on a project, and then you can sort of put this all into a tool like Asana. It puts all the conversations and tasks together, so you can get more done with less effort. I found that it helps keep the projects organized. Everybody is on the one page, and all the information is really accessible. And finally, project planning and accountability means no duplicate work and no waiting around for someone to email you back. You know instantly whether one of your colleagues has completed their task. You don't have to wait for another email. So let's just go back over to Asana, and we'll show how we're using it at R&G. So this is sort of an example of how we would use it at R&G. So this is my to-do list for this week. So using some of the similar stuff that the tasks that I had for Trello, this would be my to-do list. So today I have 3 things that I've got checked off that I need to do: manage, optimize AdWords, SEO, run the productivity tools webinar. So that's what we're doing right now. So as we go through this, we can then dig through, we can leave comments on the specific task, similar to what Trello let you do. So, okay, webinar completed. Now I need to, send out recording for everybody. So basically, again, it's about having specific tasks that you need to do on a specific day. Over here we can see upcoming tasks that I'll need to do for the rest of the week, so I've still got quite a bit to do. When you dig into a task, you can assign tags, you can assign other team members to collaborate on the tasks as well. You can set due dates. So this one actually we need to move back to the 24th, and we can go from there. When we're talking projects, Asana does give you a bit more control than, say, Trello. So Trello is more designed to keep it really simple and easy to use. This one gives you a bit more flexibility to really get your projects working a bit more robustly. So for instance here, I've again just used an example. So with one of our marketing rollouts for an IaaS promotion we're doing with Connecting Up, we've got specific tasks that need to be done across different milestones. So initially we need to get, the approval of marketing copy, ensure both parties are happy. We then, next step of this project is to prepare a media release, prepare webinar content, prepare newsletter content. So on each of these tasks, we can assign them to different people. So if I've got a coordinator that's helping me with this, and I need her to prepare the media release, then I can easily add her in here, assign that to her, and she'll have that on her to-do list back on this screen. So as a manager and someone that's in control of teams, Asana's very good at helping you keep your team organized. So as we move through, we've got other stuff in milestone 3, and it just again gives you a bit more flexibility when you've got a specific team and a specific task or project that you need to do. All right, on to the next one. So the next one is HipChat. So HipChat is a communication chat tool. So much like you may have used MSN Messenger or something in the past, you may use Link inside your existing organization. HipChat aims to bring collaborative chat into a bit more of an engaging environment where you can share video, you can share screens, you can easily share web links and images. It's all hosted sort of online, and they do have a desktop application. So the benefit there is that you can access this anywhere, across all your devices. So if one of your colleagues is using a web tablet, at home, they can have access to the chat. If they're using their mobile phone and they're out to see a specific client and they're helping them out, then they'll also have access to the chat. So they really bill themselves as supercharging real-time collaboration with persistent chat rooms, file sharing, and screen sharing. So again, it reduces the number of internal emails, like what we've been sort of talking about in the other two tools, and you can quickly get answers to your questions. So you can keep working on without being held up. So the idea there is that if you've been in the situation where you might have been waiting on someone to give you, send you back an email regarding the go-ahead or an approval or whatnot, it can be quite frustrating to be waiting on that email. The benefit of HipChat, and if you do get buy-in from your team when you're using HipChat, is that all you have to do is send them through a little message. They'll get that instantly, and you'll be able to move on to your next task without having to worry about waiting for them to get back to you. So I've got an example of HipChat here, how we use it inside our organization. So this is an example of a chat room that we've set up. There's a couple of colleagues in here of mine. David, he does a bit of the programming for us here. So we have a bit of fun from here and there as well to really spice up the day. Some of the key features that you can tag people. So when you actually want to tag someone inside maybe a group collaborative chat of, say, 5 people in your team, but you want to speak to someone specifically, you can use the @ symbol, similar to some other programs out there, and say, hey, David Lumley, what's your thoughts on XYZ? They can then respond accordingly in the chat. And instead of this being what may have been a one-to-one conversation, it's now openly accessible to everybody. So you can keep everybody in the loop, even on your individual conversations. Now, if you did want to talk to David Lumley by on a private chat, you can then also do that as well. So this is an example of a private chat I've just quickly set up. So hey Dave, we need to do XYZ. Again, now this is only one-to-one chat, so they won't. So everybody else in the actual chat room won't be able to see this conversation. So in our example, we've only got sort of one chat room, but you can sort of picture this inside your organization where you might have 3 or 4 chat rooms where people inside those chat rooms can be adding value or communicating with each other on specific topics. So I've seen this work well. So the accounts team has their own chat room, the marketing department has their own chat room, the client services and relations have their own chat room. Then there's like a fun chat room, so everyone can sort of just relax a bit and share what they're doing from a social side of things. But yeah, that's sort of HipChat. I think to summarize that one up, it's really good because it is accessible across multiple devices. So even if someone is out on the go, they'll still be able to keep in the loop with what's going on inside the chat room via their mobile device. Alrighty, so on to the next one, Dropbox. Dropbox is a file sharing tool that helps you share your files with colleagues and collaborate on those specific files and make sure that you're not having to email yourself again a file or having various copies of other files in different versions. So it is a free service where you can bring together whether it be photos, documents, videos, anything. I think it's really easy for your team to work on a specific document inside Dropbox, like I'll show you in a second. The big benefit is that it does integrate into your sort of operating system very seamlessly. So it's almost like it's just another folder on your Windows Explorer. So yeah, the final benefit is that you'll no longer have to have different variations flying around via email. I know you've probably sort of experienced this yourself, where Joe sent you a copy of a client's report. You've made a few changes, sent back another email, vice versa. You finally got the version 5, and yeah, who knows what's happened in between. There might be a few mistakes or whatnot. With Dropbox, that can eliminate some of those challenges and save a lot of that time of revisiting things that you've mucked up. So let's just take a look at Dropbox for us. So this is an example of one of the folders inside Dropbox for RNG. So for me, I use Dropbox a lot for a lot of the bigger files, particularly around design, website stuff, audio files, things that are very hard to send via email, and things that make it a lot easier if we have one central location for me and maybe the web designer, or me and maybe my managing director. So in this particular example, when we were rolling out a new website, instead of me having to email all the photos that we want on the website to our website designer, I was able to upload them into this specific Dropbox folder, share this folder with my website designer, and then he will have instant access to all the photos that we wanted to be put on the website. Now these photos weren't just small files; they were 8 gigabytes at a time. Maybe not quite that much, but it was quite a lot of data to be transferring via email if you were going to try and do that route. The other benefit was when the website designer did update the files, then I also had instant access to those new files as well. So that's sort of the online version of Dropbox. Now I'll quickly show you, how it looks inside Windows Explorer. So like I mentioned before, it really seamlessly just integrates into your existing Windows computer. So you can see Dropbox is just another little folder here, along with all the rest. And as we click Dropbox here, we can then go through and see the Xero RG Tech folder. From here, we'll have access to all the important documents. So again, when we're going website files, we can see all the other photos here, images, whatnot. As things get updated, Dropbox will automatically sync these files back so that you have the most recent copy as well. Alrighty, on to the next one. So Canva. So this one is probably my favorite productivity tool, but I am obviously a little biased because I handle a lot of the marketing and whatnot. So graphic design, designing images for social media updates, for blog posts, for media releases, flyers. It's quite hard. If you don't have the Photoshop skills to be able to do it, or if you're always collaborating with a website or graphic designer, then it can be quite a long process and gets sort of frustrating to do at times. But Canva can really help those problems. It really makes design simple for anyone. So anybody without Photoshop or design experience can use Canva and create really high quality blog graphics, web graphics, presentations, images for social media updates, and even flyers just via their web interface. So the big benefits are it saves you time. Obviously, you're designing graphics really quickly. I pump these graphics out in 5 minutes, where it used to, I used to fiddle around with Photoshop, but it might take me 30 minutes. So when you're doing one or two of these designs every day, you can see how much time that can really save you. On the flip side, if you were hiring a graphic designer to do the stuff for you, it will then save you that time, having to deal with them, sending emails backwards and forth, not to mention, some of the cost savings as well. The other big benefit is that they have a big library of stock photos. So if you wanted to, really bring out your images and make them, A+, then you can leverage their stock photo library. They have a bunch of icons, all sorts of fonts to make make sure the designs are consistent with what your other marketing is, and then some other layouts as well. So let's just jump over to Canva and I'll show you how we use it at RNG. So here's the sort of simple dashboard of Canva. Not to mention Canva is actually a free tool as well. But let's just pull up one of these designs to show you how I created it in sort of 5 minutes. So here's the design that we did for a blog post. So this is just the header image for the blog post and what we used with all the social media updates to represent what we're talking about. So again, I'll just delete this for now and I'll show you how easy it is to do it. At least briefly. So when you're looking for a photo, you can just type into the search box here and we go photo. So if I want someone that is demonstrating good customer service, I can quickly go boom, find someone that reflects that. If you want to use one of these traditional stock photos, you just pull it across nice and easily. Makes it really easy. Delete this for now. If you want to add some text in there, we can add text. So you go to the text here, pull text, coming across and say, we'll do one productivity, oops, what's going on there? Productivity webinar. So we go boom, we go like this, and then you can change your fonts as you like. And then that'll update. They've got a bunch of different icons as well here. So if you want text holders, you can see them all here, all sorts of stuff. If you're looking to design specific layouts, they've got a bunch of layouts to help you get started, and banners, all sorts of things. The other thing that I didn't touch on just before is that they also have pre-made designs, which makes it really, really easy to get started. So if you wanted to design what's a good one here? Even if you're designing a Pinterest thing or a poster, let's do a poster. So they can since they know what the most popular things that people want to design, they can pre-do the sizes, pre-do some of the layouts to help you get started. So for instance, they've got a lot of stuff here for the FIFA World Cup at the moment, but let's pull something that's maybe a bit more relevant to what we want to do. Alright, so here we go. So we can just pull that across, and this might be an event that you're doing or something that you're running with some of your donors or your existing clients. You can easily just edit the text by doing this, edit it. You can change the background image, add in another one, add in your own image by uploading them here. Change the fonts, change the text, all sorts of stuff. So you can really see how you can design flyers in, if you can design a flyer in 5 minutes, I think you're doing pretty good. So yeah, that's Canva. On to the next one. Evernote. So Evernote is a note-taking tool that helps you remember and act upon ideas, projects, experiences across computers, photos, tablets, computers, phones, tablets, and everything. So you can have one single system to track all your notes. So whether you have an idea when you're on the road, or you are brainstorming some ideas for a project, you can use Evernote to jot those notes down, sync it with your phone so you always have access to them, and you can also share them with colleagues to collaborate on ideas. Personal use, you can also use it to bookmark websites. That's one of the favorite things I use Evernote for. So if I come across a really good blog post or an article that I want to share with some of my team members, then I can bookmark it and then collaboratively share it with my colleagues. So we'll move over and have a quick squiz over here. Okay, so here we go. So here's an example of a note that I've put together. So ideas for upcoming webinar. So again, using this productivity webinar as an example, these are some of the ideas that I wanted to showcase when talking about the webinar here. Introduce each tool, show how it's used, etc., etc. So from here, you can also see some of the articles that I've bookmarked. So I'm always looking for customer success stuff. So I've been able to actually bookmark this page from the website because they've got a really easy to use Chrome application. Bookmark it, instantly pulls it back into my notes, so I have access to this information when I need to at a later stage. All right, so you can also tag all your articles. So you can imagine if you start using Evernote quite a lot, there'll be a lot of data in here. So the best way to really organize that is to use tags. So if you're, for instance, I've got a lot of marketing stuff here, but if I want to find stuff related to marketing, then I can quickly see those pages that I've bookmarked related to marketing, sales, whatever. So in your situation, you could probably think about how you could segment your notes and your information to easily access it in the future. All right. Okay, next one is Grammarly. So Grammarly is a really neat tool that will help you, minimize all your grammar and spelling mistakes. So, if you've maybe got some, younger generation Y people in your workplace where they've been brought up on, instant messenger chat and don't have the best grammar in time, the last thing you want is to be publishing stuff with poor grammar. And or having your team, spending so much time worrying about grammar that, it takes them longer than it really should. So Grammarly will check your grammar. It will instantly proofread, check for plagiarism. So the goal is that you can use Grammarly to improve your writing, which in turn will save you time and your team time. So it automatically proofreads your work, acts as a personal grammar coach, I like to say, so that you can learn from the mistakes you're making and improve moving forward. So it'll save you time moving forward. And one of the best things about Grammarly is it has another Chrome application which you can install on Google Chrome, and it will work inside your web browser. So I'll show you how this works because it's really good when you're having to write emails inside your web browser. Maybe if you're writing social media updates, using any of these other tools we've talked about here, since they're all basically operated inside the cloud and on the web, sometimes you're not going to be, having access to Microsoft Word every time you want to write a little message. Having Grammarly as a Google Chrome app will be constantly checking your spelling and your grammar to ensure that everything is, A-OK. So firstly, let's look at Grammarly inside Grammarly app itself. So this is just an example article to show you what happens. What you do is you copy and paste your article or your copy or your email from Microsoft Word, comes in here, and then you'll be able to work through all the mistakes. So I've made specifically a few errors here to highlight some of the reasons why you'd want to use Grammarly. So here we've got you, so then you can quickly see here, all right, we're missing a grammar, we're missing a comma, so you can just click this one and then it'll add it in there. Next one, we've made an error in terms of the spelling. It will automatically tell you, all right, we probably should be using half there. Again, as we move here, more and more errors, you can sort of get the gist of how it will really work. Now, my favorite bit is when you're sending social media updates that are important to your donors and your stakeholders. You really don't want to be using poor grammar or poor sentence structure. So by having the Google Chrome extension, you can be consistently checking for spelling and grammar errors. So let's just do an example here. This is a test to see if Grammarly works. So we can see here, all right, it's already picked up that this is an error. And it's not. Yeah, so then we right click and we can say, all right, what's the actual real word that we need to be using here? So it should be test. This should be this as well. You can also use this when you're doing blog posts, like if you're leaving comments on blog posts. Again, we've seen another error here. All right, couple. You can see it pops up. All right, couple. Thanks for picking that one up, Grammarly. Now, if you're using email inside, say, Gmail, Google Apps, then it will also work very similarly. Okay, on to the next one. Grammarly, by the way, isn't the Google Chrome application is free, but the actual paid subscription to have access to the editor is $30 a month. What I'll be doing at the end of the webinar is sending through a resource page which will include all the pricing for the tools that I've talked about today, and links to them. So if you did want to give them a go, then you'll have that information. Alrighty, so last one is Sprout Social. So this one is good for managing your social media, managing your updates, managing your relationships with other important people for your organization on a social media sort of platform like Twitter or Facebook. So this is a quick screenshot of what's inside. We'll have a look in a second, but in essence, it's a tool that's created to help organizations grow their social media presence. So not-for-profits, social media is really important for all not-for-profits that I speak to, because it's a powerful tool to harness your donors, harness your promoters, and really spread awareness for your cause. So as you grow people, you do grow your community, and that will help make sure that the missions that you're working on, really come to happen. I like Sprout Social because it helps you systemize and automate social media. When I speak to nonprofits, one of the challenges that they have is they just don't have the time. We're all strapped for time. How do we automate and streamline this social media presence to get the best results for our organization? Because at the end of the day, it does take time. If you're sifting through Twitter, you're sifting through your Facebook pages. We need a tool to make that management process easier. So let's have a quick look over at Sprout Social. So here's Sprout Social here. So we use Sprout Social at RNG to find people talking about specific topics that are interesting to us, that we know that we can engage with them. So for instance, we are a cloud services, IT services firm. So I've got some saved searches here, but if we wanted to find someone that's talking about Office 365, then we can click the smart search here that we've set up earlier. We can see everybody in Brisbane that's talking about Office 365. Now the benefit of this is that if we want to engage with them, or we have some valuable insight that we can provide them, we can quickly and easily go up to them and you reply inside Sprout Social. So you don't have to log in to your Twitter or your Facebook. You actually sync them all already inside your Sprout Social account, and that way you can just do everything inside the one application. Now, if you don't want to reply to that message straight away, you can create a task. So it sort of brings in some of this customer relationship management tool aspect to your social media. So for this particular example, I have a colleague that I want to follow up with this one. So I can say, hey James, can you follow up with this guy? So in your particular example, it might be someone that's looking to need some help or something, and you've seen that on Twitter, and your organization can help them. Then you can reach out via this means, allocate a specific team member to follow them up and see where you guys can add some assistance for them. Add this task, save and exit. You can assign different team members on the side here and go from there. So for a non-profit example, let's have a look at, say, RSPCA. So in this particular feed, we're tracking Twitter to see who's been mentioning RSPCA. From here, you can see, there'll be some good stuff, there'll be some bad stuff. You'll have to still sift through all of it. But say our dog got hit by a car, rushed to RSPCA in time, took me to shower. What the hell? So you can come back, engage with this person, and go from there. You'll get a lot of positive feedback. You may get a bit of negative feedback if you have a reasonable presence on social media. But the goal is that you are continuing the conversation and engaging with these people. Other quick cool things that you can do inside Sprout Social is when it comes to publishing your updates. Instead of having to publish something on Facebook, publish it on Twitter, publish it on LinkedIn, whatever you want, you can schedule and post your messages across different platforms from inside Sprout Social. So we've got a couple here that I've already set up. So this is a scheduled post that's going to go out today. So this is just a link to one of our latest blog posts. We've got it already scheduled in. This is going to take care of it moving forward. I'll show you the process of scheduling it. So you just click schedule. You might write the update. This is a test. This is an update to show the guys on productivity webinar. You can add photos. You can add your profiles that you want to send it to. So in this particular example, I've only got Twitter linked to the account, but you might have your Facebook. You might have another Twitter account. You can add as many as you want. And then you can just schedule it. You choose a time. All right, we want to do this a bit later today or tomorrow. Schedule. Select day, schedule. And it's as easy as that. It's pretty straightforward. There are some other really cool things that you can do in terms of reporting and whatnot, but it does get a bit sort of in depth. You do need to be having a bit of presence on social media to leverage a tool like this. So if you're not too big, or you just wanted to dip your toes into this sort of management process, then there is another tool that I recommend, which is Hootsuite. So Hootsuite is a bit more of a dulled down version of this, but it will give you a similar sort of features to let you manage and operate your social media presence. Sprout Social is a paid one, so it is around $60, $70 a month. The Hootsuite option is a free one. So again, in my follow-up email with the recording, I'll include a link to this one and also Hootsuite for those interested in saving some money. Okay. So I mean that wraps up the 8 productivity tools that I wanted to touch on today. I know it's been a bit more of a informal, casual approach to it, but I thought that was going to be a better way to really demonstrate how an organization might use the tools and how you can maybe think about applying them personally inside your organization and then say as a whole. So your office in general. So boosting office productivity really begins with eliminating the inefficiencies from your own workday. So these tools are really designed to help you eliminate some of those sort of headaches that do take a bit too much time. So although our workloads are increasing, we can leverage these new tools and technologies to improve our productivity and get more stuff done. So if you're finding yourself always staying late at work, or some of your colleagues that are just trying to do a little bit too much and as a result working a little longer than maybe what they need to be, then some of these tools might be able to streamline some of their workload. So I was going to ask, this is probably best time, are there any tasks that you have or that you do on a regular basis that you could leverage technology to systemize and streamline? So that's an open question. Happy to sort of take some questions when we get to the end here, but have a think about that, and I'll see if one of these tools is maybe maybe one of these tools will be good for you, and if it's not, then I can maybe suggest another tool. So before we get into the Q&A, I just wanted to mention a little bit about RNG Technologies. So we're an award-winning ICT consulting firm with offices in Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne. We specialise in servicing the non-profit sector with anywhere between 5 and 400 team members. We act as a trusted IT partner, a single source supplier for all your data, cloud, IT support needs. I suppose extending on that, we do really focus on helping organizations improve productivity through the use of IT, new cloud technologies. And that's sort of the reason why I've done this webinar, to really highlight that there are some efficiency gains and available by leveraging some of these tools. So Q&A. I know that there has been a few questions that have come through, so I just want to go through them and I'll take them one at a time. Just bear with me to pull this up. I'm used to having a facilitator. Here we go. Alrighty, Paul. If using Microsoft products, OneDrive works well. Yes, Paul, 100%. OneDrive is something that we really advocate. So I kind of wanted to leave it out of this presentation purely to sort of just provide an extra insight into maybe some other variations. But yes, OneDrive works really well, particularly since it syncs with all your other Microsoft products if you're using them. In regards, Paul, another question, what about the 140 character limit on Twitter? I believe, is that what you're referring to, Paul? How will Grammarly handle that? Yes, so Grammarly won't actually handle sort of anything like that. That'll still be handled via Twitter. So I'll show you that quickly in the screen, but it'll still work similar to how you'd use Twitter normally, and it'll tell you when you've hit your limit. So, for instance, if we want to say, really enjoyed the presentation about productivity applications by Ross, yada yada yada. You'll just kind of like extend this to show you that. So you'll still see that Twitter's going to tell you, right, that's past the Twitter character limit. But the idea is that, say, Grammarly will help you make sure that those spelling mistakes and those grammar mistakes inside that 140 character update will be perfect. So I must admit, I like Grammarly with Twitter because it's important to be able to communicate on Twitter with short, concise sentences. So you don't have the opportunity to blab on or sort of really sort of fluffle. So when you're trying to write short, concise sentences, Grammarly can really lend a hand. No worries. And Rebecca just hadn't heard of Trello or Grammarly yet. They're quite new ones. Glad they can. You think they can help your organization. That's really good to hear, Rebecca. I'm glad that you can see some value out of them. They are definitely the two that I really rely on. Some of these other ones we've talked about I use sort of once a week, but Trello and Grammarly I'm always using them just because they sort of just make sense to integrate into our daily routine.